Aloha and welcome back to the Empowered Empath podcast. Lots going on this month. I'm back with an energy report for August, and we have a lot to go over, discuss, things that you'll want to know about. But before we get into that, I want to remind you, if you're already a listener or you're a first time listener, if you like the energy reports and like the updates, you will want to make sure that you follow me if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, and subscribe if you're on YouTube, because this is where they happen first. And then you can get the alerts right away, because some of them are really time sensitive and it'd be good to have quickly. That being said, one of the things you might have heard about is the Lions Portal. That happens at the end of July, beginning of August every year. It's an event that's kind of dated back through history, and it has to do with the star Sirius. This is when it separates from the sun and it comes into view. And when it comes into view, it is also the brightest star in the sky. So ancient cultures believed that when this happens, when this event happens, we receive extra energy from this star, extra light, extra energy, and they believed it was abundant energy, manifestation energy, and a good time to fertilize, to harvest, to really work towards abundance in any sense that they did it. And so throughout history, this is a very abundant manifestation type of time frame. It's fantastic for that. And you know, there's something to be said for those people in history, the cultures in history that worked with astrology, worked with the stars, because they knew a lot about universal laws. They weren't so far away from universal laws as we are today. They really worked with it. They read the energy. Well, they were super empathic. They were super moon children. They really paid attention to what was happening energetically all the time around them, when it came to food, when it came to hunting, when it came to love, when it came to war, when it came to anything. This was very important to them. And then as we moved, through the years, and we weren't really in survival mode anymore, and then of course electronics come, everything has shifted into a whole different era. And most everybody's let that go to the wayside, and or they were never born into a culture that did pay attention to their spiritual senses and pay attention to how to read energy. That's just a very foreign concept now to a lot of people. And so many cultures, or people as a whole, are trying to get back to that, because they can feel the adjustments, the energy, and the vibrational frequencies around us. You can feel it, and it's no longer being ignored. It's becoming more powerful with the Ascension frequency, the Ascension energy. All of your spiritual body is beginning to vibrate at a higher pace, and it's not as easily ignorable anymore. It was before, now it's not. And so it's prompting a lot of questions, a lot of curiosity, and a lot of also unhappiness, frustration, and the urge to want to shift things in your life. And this is really, really important, because if you start paying attention to that part of you is really, truly tied into happiness on a soul level. Not just happiness in a current time, or in a temporary level, or in your mind, but happiness deep down on a soul level. That's where it stems from. So it's good to learn how to read energy, adjust your habits and patterns, and learn how to live a more intuitive lifestyle. Learn how to live a more empathic lifestyle by acknowledging and paying attention to this energy that's around us at all time. It's super, super important. It's going to make a difference in your love life, your money, career, happiness, all of that. It makes a huge difference. And I teach a lot about that. I'm actually going to get into some stuff where we're going to talk a little bit more about the manifestation part But first, let's start covering things that you're going to be wanting to be aware of, things that you're going to want to watch. The first thing that you will notice is with this energy and where we're moving in August, we had some fears and things that were coming to the surface prior, and reorganization started to become a thing where we were clearing out old energy, right? You were clearing energy from the past. And to kind of put that in perspective for you, we are bridging the gap between vibrations at this moment in time. This is why everybody kind of feels stuck and sort of frustrated potentially, and in between. You're not sure which direction to go. You're not sure how to do things. It feels confusing because we're kind of in this bridge area where we were working with a lower frequency before. And by lower frequency, I don't mean like this super low negative frequency necessarily, but just a lower frequency where most things were physically based and energy was just running at a lower frequency. Now we have this new frequency energy, this ascension energy that is on a higher frequency scale. Now, naturally, your spiritual body will try to just match the energy of the universe and earth and where that's heading. It naturally will just want to move that way. But you will and can run into problems, which is typically yourself. And I'm going to cover some stuff about that with the next two actually. But the first one that I want to talk about is as you're reorganizing, and if you were doing that, if you started doing that last month, you will probably have noticed that things do not quite seem like they're flowing properly if you just organized and reorganized the same old systems that you were used to working with. So it's typical to reorganize things, rework things in your life, whether it belongs to money, relationships, communication, career, any of those things. It's typical to, at some points, especially if you're sensitive, have the urge to want to readjust and reorganize. Now, why that happens is because any events or any energy surrounding money, household, relationships, they will pick up other energies just from situational stuff that goes on and astrological stuff, but it will pick up energetic junk. So imagine it like you have to dust or spring clean every, 6 months, 3 months, whatever it is that you do. Now, you also need to do that with the energy in your life. So when you are super sensitive, you will find the urge to do some energy clearing, anywhere from every 3 to 6 months. And what you will do naturally is you will start to readjust systems and habits and patterns and reorganize them. Well, what's kind of sticking with people right now and causing some issues of the second problem, which is going to be resistance, is right now a lot of people are trying to reorganize old systems. Now, imagine this. You're in the bridge, right? And your old systems are not going to work across the bridge in this new high frequency energy. It's just not going to work. They are carrying a lower frequency vibe with them. You can't bring anything into a new frequency, into a higher frequency that is just programmed at a lower frequency. And what I mean by programmed is when you did those systems, you created them from a lower frequency standpoint. It's not bad, it's just is. So it's like trying to put a round peg into a square hole or vice versa. Square peg into a round hole. They're here nor there, they're just different, they don't fit. And when you reorganize as somebody who is on a higher frequency energy or just sensitive, what you're trying to do is you're trying to clear the energetic junk, and you're moving out old energy and you're allowing new energy to come through, which really unknots the energy and clears out any energetic dust, and it makes things just flow nice and easy. So what's been happening with a lot of people is they started the reorganizational process last month, and still don't feel like things are flowing properly. They're feeling frustrated, stuck, or like, this just isn't quite working. What you need to do is continue to reorganize and adjust, but you will want to scrap your old systems and leave those all behind. So whatever it is that you're working on, if it's redoing your money, if it's working on relationships, if it's working in career, whatever it is that you feel the need to rework the energy to get it more flowing properly, you will want to scrap any system that you currently have. It's no longer going to work for you. You will want to start from scratch. Not only will you want to start from scratch just because now you're building at the bridge point, so you're building on a higher frequency level that will match the peg in the hole, but that will allow more clarity moving forward. Because if you want clarity moving forward in a higher vibrational frequency, you cannot look for it from a lower vibrational standpoint. It doesn't work. That's like just trying to look through fog. So you will want to start from the bridge. You will want to restructure, rebuild any system or habit that you're wanting to move out that old energy that you're feeling frustrated and stuck, and you want, or even creative. If you're feeling creative, you will want to start brand new like you never did it before. The cool thing about that is you have done it before. So you have a lot of knowledge. You can bring the knowledge with you. The knowledge is going to work with this frequency. You can bring that knowledge forward. So now you're just smarter, right? You're just smarter at what you're trying to rebuild or redo. But let's get rid of our old systems and start new. Scrap it all, start new. You can take pieces that worked for you, but pretend like you've never done it before and redo it. Because that's when you're going to start feeling the flow, and then you're going to start feeling more flow towards the future and more clarity, and you're going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, then this, and then maybe I should try that. You're going to tune into some really good intuitive hits. If you're trying to force the square peg round hole, if you're trying to force that, your brain almost goes into, I'm going to make this work. I know I can. I've done it before. You know what I mean? You're going to try to force it instead of go with the flow, because we're human. It's just what we have just experienced is past stuff. And so that's another thing that you're going to want to be aware of. And especially also when it does come to relationships. You're not going to want to move any past things of people or situations into current energy and into future energy, because the past was the past. You want to either break or move forward. You want to not pull any of that energy forward, because frankly, it's weight. That energy becomes weight. You're not going to move forward very well. So you will want to start paying very close attention to how you're thinking about things, which comes into the resistance aspect of what I was going to talk about here. This, starting from scratch, will also come with, and or might come separately, resistance in some shape or form for most people. It even has been coming for me. So I've been really working on the resistance aspect of things this week, because that's super important. You will find that your brain will automatically want to trigger resistance to some of the things that you're redoing, and or to some of the things just going on in your life right now. And what I mean by that is, if you're finding that you are feeling stuck or frustrated in an area, and or any low vibration emotions are happening, these are things that you want to look at, is where the resistance is coming from. You will want to really pay attention to that. For instance, I've been having some resistance with business stuff and or money stuff. And so I noticed it the other day, and I thought, this is really unlike me, first of all. And second of all, why am I tensing? Why am I tensing every time this subject comes up? Because I knew, you can tell immediately when you start tensing about something that there's resistance there. And when there's resistance there, there's usually a thought pattern that kind of goes with it or tries to match this resistance, and then your whole energy flow tenses. So when your body tenses, the energy flow blocks as well. It's not going to move properly. So we really want to pay attention to when we're tensing, when you're tensing and stressing. So for another story would be, for a long time when I used to go get the mail, and this was a while ago, I would be tense going to the mailbox. Like, who's tense going to the mailbox? I mean, it was weird. And then I started thinking, why am I so tense about going to the mailbox? This is like so weird. And I realized because when I was younger, that's when the bills came. Of course, they're online now, right? So then you might tense when you open up your email. But when the bills would come and I was younger and I didn't feel like I had the money flow that I needed to, then I always had to figure out how to pay things. It was a whole thing. So you will want to pay attention to the resistance thing. I noticed it recently with business, and I noticed it when I was getting up in the morning and my emails started coming in. And I thought, why am I doing this? I love doing these things. But I had noticed that what I was doing is I was carrying over where I had issues, or, you know, where people are emailing going, hey, we need help with this, or this happened, or that happened, or whatever. And I have several businesses, so it was happening with many of the businesses at the same time. And it got to where every morning I was having to deal with something, but I realized I can't pull that forward into future energy, but it had created a habit for me because it went on for like, I don't know, it might have been 2 weeks where there was constant issues. Well, that's plenty of time to start creating a reactionary habit where you're just tensing now. And I thought, okay, I don't want my life to be like this every single morning that I wake up, and I want my life to feel smoother when I work with businesses. And so I need to get rid of this right now. And so what you do is you figure out any emotions that you're having that's stressing or tensing the body right now, where you're having reactionary triggers, and you want to resolve them. And you will find that at this moment in time, a lot of your triggers are going to be past situations that are not future situations. But the way that the body and the brain works a lot of times is because it was past, it is now your reality. And so it pretends like that's your reality moving forward or currently, when that's not even true. It created this picture for you of your reality because of past. You need to learn how to undo that and unwind all the time. This will be something that I hope that you do all the time. You're not just going to do this today, tomorrow, next week, and even get a handle on it for the next month and then never have to revisit this again. It's a very good spiritual maintenance habit to create in energetic awareness. Why am I tensing? Is this in a current situation? I guarantee you over 95% of it will not have been anything that's happening right now. It's your trigger. So how do you resolve it? You need to, a really good way to resolve it, I can't tell you specifically on your situation. You're going to have to go through that. However, for instance, a really good way is most of the time you're going to find this was past situational stuff, not current situation, not your today. Like, for instance, today, I didn't wake up to any issues. In fact, I woke up to some really good stuff going on with my businesses. But I had to catch myself because I'm training myself out of it right now because I know that I need to work into a different area for August. So I had to catch myself and go, yep, we're not there. Morning's good. And then all this really cool stuff happened. And now I'm so aware of it that I know that I will go to bed thinking about it. And I will go to bed thinking, okay, now this is where you get in the manifestation part. This is one of the things that I do with that manifestation visualization that I have on my website that I don't know if you've heard about or whatever. But I do this every night and every morning. And right now I'm really, really working with this because I'm reprogramming the way that my energy is flowing. I'm redoing it. I'm refocusing it. And in order to do that, you have to have your brain on board. You have to give it a focusing place to be. You have to allow it to work with the energy. You have to focus it with your energy. and not let it just go crazy, because it will just like start spinning out of control and doing all these weird things that you're like, oh my gosh, and then what about this, and oh yeah, the brain is just like a wild child. It'll go nuts, and for some reason it just always seems to go to the worst, most horrible place, right? Like that just happens. So we want to feed it good information. We want to give it healthy thoughts. And so I will work with a visualization tonight again, and I will be like, yep, tomorrow's going to be good. I'm going to get a break. No bad stuff, no stress. I'm going to wake up. Things are going to feel abundant and good. And I work with that visualization, which you can check out if you want to. So you will want to figure out where any resistance is coming from in this bridge period. It's just what you're going to want to do. And actually, just make it a habit. I'll remind you from here on out and time again, but we will want to make it a habit. And we don't want to create this higher frequency with, well, you're not going to be able to. It's not going to work very good. You're going to be kind of stuck in limbo if you don't work yourself out of this resistance energy. So that's going to naturally happen. Don't blame yourself if it's happening. Like I said, it's just a natural thing. Just being aware of it's going to be huge. Then the last thing that you're going to want to concentrate on with all of this is going to be a wonderful manifestation month. Because last month, again, brought a lot of fears and worries. You're going to have worked through that. You're starting to do the energy clearing out low vibrational stuff. And now we're working in the bridge where we're trying not to bring things from the past over. We're working through our resistances. But at the same time, it helps to have some manifesting time. And that is giving yourself a new place to focus, a new goal in mind. And you know what the coolest thing's going to be? It's really a fantastic feeling when you do the two things that I already suggested or said that you need to do, which is you start scrapping your old systems and just starting brand new. And you figure out where your resistances are and realize that a lot of them are in the past anyways. Because this is going to allow your manifestation energy to move forward in a really high frequency vibe if you just let all that other stuff go and start from scratch. If you had manifestation dreams before, I would even suggest scrapping those and redesigning them now. Now's the time to scrap those and redesign. Refocus, goal set. That's not a word, but now's a time to start over what your manifestation goals are, especially during this Lionsgate portal. This is going to be high manifestation energy. It's a good time to receive clarity, and it really feels good right now, like I said, to just feel like you're starting from scratch. So, for instance, if I just started these businesses now, like for instance, how would I want them to be? If you just started your relationship now, what would be your hopes and dreams for that? If you just started receiving paychecks now, what would that look like for you? If you just started out your goals in life at this point in time, you just graduated high school or college, where would you like to see yourself? Because that releases the frustration and the angst that you haven't got to where you want to be at this point in time. It really helps you just drop that. A lot of manifesting, it gets hung up with the angst of, am I too late? I should have been here by now. How long is that going to take me? Well, I've been working on this for 10 years. It still hasn't happened. Let's take that one, for instance. What if you hadn't worked on it for 10 years? You've scrapped the old systems. You've figured out the resistances of the past. And let's start that goal starting today. It is now considered a new goal. It feels, just feel the weight being lifted. Feel the angst just go away, because we are starting from now. So now you have all this time in the future. You have all this room to work with, and you're working with higher frequency energy. It feels good. So let's release anything, any habits, thoughts, any pictures. If you have manifestation boards, create a new one. Rework it to who you are in this bridge period, because that's the other thing that you really want to know and pay attention to. Who you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 2 years ago, 6 months ago. Who you were then is really not matching this bridge energy, because the bridge energy is now. And even no matter what weight you've had with you, you're creating your energetic story every day at this point in time in this bridge area. So your energetic story is created from a different frequency. So it's not going to match that who you were. It's different. And so let's do from who we are right now, because this is the time. This is very poignant energy time to start from now. Okay. The other thing that I do want to point out as I'm getting to the end of this is, for those of you who are interested in really moving forward and working through this and understanding more about manifesting, because I want to be doing a lot more stuff in that area, because I have a lot of cool information for you on how you do that with energy, and how you really can feel the vibe of it, and how you can really kind of bring it into your life in a more successful manner as you work through stuff, because everybody has stuff they have to work through. Don't kid yourself. I don't care who they are on the planet or how much manifestation they've done. Most likely they're constantly working at it and working the kinks out of who they are and what their humanistic qualities will want to hold on to. Most likely they're not just in bliss all the time. They still have humanistic qualities. It's just the same like if you want to be married for 30, 40 years, you have to work at a marriage all the time. You change as people, but you also have to work at it. There's no just easy street when it comes to relationships. They're constant work. Manifestation is constant work, but it can be very fun. It doesn't have to be brutal. But there will be times those humanistic qualities will get in the way, and we need to address those so that we can move forward. The whole key to is about energy flow and being able to feel the energy flow and the energy movement, but also being able to rid yourself of the not cool energy stuff, or notice when you're having all these knots and tangles energetically. But there's a lot more to that. And because there's a lot more to that, I just wanted to let you know that I do have a manifestation class coming up. If you're interested, if you're not, great, fine, doesn't matter to me. But if you're interested in working on the law of attraction and manifesting your desires, I have like a 1 hour class. It might be 2 hours. Anyways, I have a class coming up. You can get on the wait list on my website, keystothespiritworld.com. There's a wait list thing at the very front, and you can get on that. If you join the wait list, you will actually get 20% off the class. That's $59, and you'll get 20% off that too when you get the details, the date, and all that sort of thing. So it's going to be a fantastic class. And if you loved my Universal Laws book, which has huge ratings, people just love that book. It's based on that, and we get into some more detail surrounding manifestation and manifesting. So it's going to be awesome. You're going to love it. We're going to work through some cool stuff, and I'd love to see you in class. But anyways, if you want to do it, it's over there. Also, if you'd like to continue on with your journey, I have a lot of cool things at Keys to the Spirit World. So many good quizzes over there on psychic ability, your frequency. That's a cool quiz. It shows. You can go through the quiz and find out how high, if you're on the higher end of the scale of your vibrational frequency, lower end. You might want to do that if you're listening and you're not sure. And then I have the empath quiz, the moonchild quiz, and then I have a lot of cool stuff on my spirit blog. So, all right. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, please comment below. And until next time, have the most amazing day. Aloha.